Okay, so today's agenda is we're going to be looking at vehicle tracking and in particular the vehicle library, and conducting swept path analysis and utilising car park layouts. I'll show you a little bit about that, and I want to also finish up showing you a very cool tool, the roundabout design tool. I will be using Civil 3D, but this tool is available for standard AutoCAD users. I'll let you know if I do anything that's specific to Civil 3D and what the differences will be as and when they happen. Hello, my name is Ian Robinson. I'm the Infrastructure Technical Specialist located in the United Kingdom. I work for Greytech. I've put up my contact details in there. I'm on my own today, so we won't be able to take questions as we're going through the webinar. However, you're welcome to leave any questions in the chat and I'll pick them up at the end, or make a note of my email address now. I'll put it up at the end as well, and you can ask questions directly via email. A little bit about Greytech for those of you that don't know who we are. We're an international organisation. We have offices throughout Europe and worldwide, and we basically specialise in building and MEP, civil structure, power and process, product and design, and visual industrial design visualizations as well. We also are authors of our own software, which some of you will be aware of things that Autodesk have recently purchased, such as Advanced Steel. We're a platinum partner all the way across Europe now, but in the UK we've got 5 locations. They're Southampton, Milton Keynes, Nottingham, Bradford and Durham. We've got over 70 staff in the UK alone and 330 throughout the world, of which over 180 are skilled engineers as well. So we're very heavily into the technical side of things, as well as all the other bits that go around businesses. I'm waffling now, I can tell. Okay, so before we make a start on that agenda, let's just give a little bit of background on vehicle tracking. And things that you just need to be aware of as we go through the presentation is that everything we do here, they're not just static turning templates. In the old days, that's what we used, even on the drawing boards. We had templates as well. These are dynamic, so we can edit them and change them and look at design options as we're going through our design process, and make important decisions very early on in that design process. The product will basically simulate all these types of vehicles, so from your standard cars and trucks through to construction vehicles and forklifts and carts and things like that, oversized vehicles, overweight vehicles, and it will do light rail and aircraft and other specialist vehicles as well. Oh, that image should have come in. You can also create your own. So we have customers that do specialist oversized vehicles, and you can create your own in the library. I'm not going to show you that today. We won't have time to go into that into too much detail. So if anybody needs more information or has the product and wants to learn how to create their own vehicles, get in touch and we'll show you how to do that separately. The next thing I was going to show you was how we can do parking bays. It will include things like islands and disabled bays and what have you. And again, it'll use design standards to create them. And then I'm going to do a roundabout. And I'm purposely going to show you that really quickly, really simply, how it will generate a 3-dimensional model of your roundabout if you're using Civil 3D. It'll do the layout in 2D as well if you're doing if you've got standard AutoCAD and you've not got corridor modeling, then we can do it. It'll do it in 2D as well. But I'll show it in 3D, and you can have a look, see what you think. It's all based on design standards. These are all editable as well. You can go in and change your design standards. But I'm working in the UK, so these are based on the UK design standards. But again, if you have any questions on your particular country standards, then let us know and we'll look into that for you. Okay, as I mentioned, we'll do questions at the end. So just make a note of my email address there if you want, and we'll just crack straight on with it. Okay, so let's get straight into Civil 3D. So bear with me while I remove all that stuff there and open up Civil 3D. Right, so if you purchase vehicle tracking, it all lands in a ribbon, in your ribbon on the vehicle tracking tab. That's the word I was looking for in there. As I say, this is Civil 3D, so I've got my tool space down here, which we'll use right at the end just to have a look at the corridors. But the first thing you do when you're working with AVT, I'll call it AVT from now on because it's easier, so vehicle tracking, is in the settings, you need to make sure that your drawing units are correctly set, and you can put in whether you're working in miles per hour or kilometers per hour, etc. So there's plenty of settings that you need to just make sure that your template is set up correctly. There is also additional settings for your system as well. So the first settings was based on this drawing, and the second one is based on the system. So where are the file paths, what layers are we going to land in, what libraries are we going to load automatically. So we've got our vehicle library here directly from Autodesk, and in there we've got the British design vehicles, which are the ones I'm going to be using today. But you can see there's a whole bucket load of other vehicle libraries, and you can also go to the Autodesk website and download additional worldwide vehicles as well, or additional European vehicles, as well as creating your own. Okay, there's various other things in there, things like skill level when you're driving around, a bit like a game really, and how it pans and what paths we're going to use and junctions. There's a link to Arcadi software in there. I'm not going to be showing that again today, but if any of you are using Arcadi software, then that link's in there, and again we can look at that later on. Let's keep it really straightforward to start with, and really simple, and we'll just have a look at driving our swept paths. So the first thing is, let's have a look at the library. So there is a library explorer here. We can click on this and it will open up our library. Let me just unexpand them. Okay, and in there we have, so I'll look at the British library. Here we are, some design standards. So for DB32 design standards, and then we've also got various other ones. So London Fire Brigade, for example, Transport for London, so rigid bus, articulated buses and things like that. Everything you're really likely to need. These are all fully editable, and you can create your own and really do some funky stuff with them, to be honest. Some of the stuff I see some of our customers doing is really impressive. What happens is this library stays static. You don't generally edit this library. In your drawing, you create a pool of vehicles. So you have your vehicles in here, and you just create a pool of them per drawing as you're working. You don't need to go in and just pick them. You can just do it as you're working. So I'll close that down and just show you how I would just start. Basically, I'd just do an arc drive or a bearing drive. These arc drives are just basically clicking on the drawing and telling you where your vehicle's going to go. And then bearing drive, you tell it where you want the vehicle to go to, and it will drive to that point. So I'll just do arc driving. We pick our vehicle, so we'll go to our British standards, and I'll just drive a car, the standard private car. There's one there. You can see all the dimensions in there. We'll just proceed on that one. I won't make it my default vehicle. You can see it's now attached to my mouse, and I'm going to drive up the wrong side of the road here and just place it in that direction. It opens up the vehicle position window here, and if we just proceed, we can now start driving down our road. So let's see how this junction would work. Try not to go into the chevrons. Oh, look at that, that's not very good. So we'll pretend I'm drunk. We'll drive around here. I'll show you how you can edit that afterwards up to this roundabout here. And that's it, simple as that. Just click and away you go. you have lots of grips appear in here. So these ones with the pluses, they're basically the points where I clicked. So if I hover one, I can adjust that target point. So where did I get drunk? There, I got drunk there. So I'm going to adjust that target point, and look what happens. It's totally dynamic. It's perfect, really, that. And I can now start to adjust how that's going to work. So you can see there that these target points now, I can't get to that point there. So we can actually trim the path back and start adding in new points now. So I'm going to avoid hitting the central barrier. Jobby, what do you call it? Forgotten already. Need you all, you're all probably shouting at me right now. This is what that is. It's a crosswalk, isn't it? So yeah. Other grips here are where you can add additional target points in. So I've drawn along there, and maybe actually I would like to make that a little bit more accurate, and I can start adding in target points, bringing that one back a bit, and working how we can work with that. Let's trim it back again, and then we can start driving again. So you can really get to designing and exploring your design options, really, using your vehicle path editing tools there. Really simple. Now it will do it also on the profile as well. So if we had an articulated lorry, so let's stick an articulated lorry in there. So I'll just go to the arc drive, and I will pick that vehicle there. So we'll proceed with that one. Okay, and we'll drive this one down here in this direction and proceed. Okay, so this is all well and good. Obviously it's going to struggle, isn't it, to get around this corner, this one. You get used to driving these things, just spending a bit of time, because you can see with an articulated lorry, the problem is with a lot of these things is oversteering. And you get used to driving them as you get around, because in the program world, if you were playing a game, you can pretty much go from full left lock to full right lock really quickly using your little game controller. But in the real world, you have to turn this big, massive, heavy steering wheel, and this will simulate that. So we have a turning lock timing as well. So if we're on full right-hand lock, you're not going to be able to immediately straighten that up. But of course, with an articulated lorry in particular, you might have vertical problems. So where you've got a bump in the road, it might be, or going up a hill if it's too steep. No, well, let me show you. It's be a lot easier. So I've got a profile here. This is basically a Civil 3D. So I've got a surface with a road running through it. Let's have a look at that in the object viewer. So I've just got a road running through it here. And where we get to kind of these hills and these crests, is that articulated lorry going to make it or not? There's a couple of things you can do. The first one I'm going to show you here. We can just pick a profile. So if you're a Civil 3D user, you'll be used to seeing this. But basically, if you're not a Civil 3D user, all we've done is we've run a horizontal alignment, which is over here. And that horizontal alignment tells us the path of the road. And then we run a profile along that surface so we can see what the surface does. And then you design your vertical profile along the top of that. This one's, is it exaggerated? No, so you wouldn't exaggerate it, you see. So I was going to change that if it was. And then what we can do is we can just do a vertical clearance. So I'll pick that articulated lorry again, select the profile I would like to analyse on, and it will say, do you want to proceed with the default values? And you say yes. And it will place the lorry on my vertical design as well, which is nice. And that path runs all the way along, so we can see how that lorry would actually make it down that hill without the tractor unit and the trailer clashing with each other. You can animate this as well. So if I zoom in, I can hit animate, and it creates an animation path. and I can literally drive my lorry down. Let's speed it up a bit boring, so we'll go super fast. And there's my lorry driving down the profile. Let's just stop that. I want to show you the animation in 2D as well, so let's close that down. If you're not using Civil 3D and you're just using plain old AutoCAD, shouldn't call it that, should I? Using AutoCAD, it will analyze any object. So if we have a look at this object here, this is just a polyline. So if you have a three-dimensional line showing you what you've got, you can do a profile of that line, and then we could manually drive, sorry, you don't want to manually drive, do we? Close that down. Do a vertical distance, again using that lorry on this object here. Now I wouldn't expect it to be able to climb that, so if I select it, you should see it stop. There it is, it's stopped at that point. And if we animate that, you can see as the lorry comes in, the tractor unit and the trailer start to clash and it stops at that point. So that's telling me that there's a vertical problem in there. Okay, you can also animate in the plan mode as well. So this is it in the plan mode. So let's do the animation. You can see I've got two vehicle paths in there now, and if I play them, go a bit faster, you can see my lorry comes round. He's obviously had a drink, this guy, so he oversteers and then tries to correct it, knocks down a few people, and away we go. So we can animate all of these things in both plan view and profile view. This is out of the box, by the way, guys. I haven't set anything up. I've just literally opened that drawing up. It's just a 2D drawing and just started drawing with the standard tools out of the box. So I haven't done anything funky with that. Let's have a look at editing vehicle paths. Just show you that in a bit more detail. So I will manually drive some vehicles down there. Let's pick that truck again. We're going to drive this truck down this road and we're going to check this junction. So he's going to come round here. Can he get into there? Okay, so we'll proceed and we'll just start driving, zoom in. What's going to happen when he gets round here? See, my driving's improved already. Have you seen that? Up to here and we'll stop. We'll finish. Okay. So that's my truck. The one thing that I just wanted to show you in the editing, this one here, this grip here, this is a bearing forward. So what I can do here is I can start continuing but using the bearing tool. So now you can see it's saying, right, this is going to be the bearing of the truck, so it's going to carry on in that direction. Whereas if I do an arc, watch what happens. Can you see the steering angle on it? It's changing. So bearing, it's going to just bear to that direction, and then it automates adding in the widening where the trailer will oversteer there. That's the wrong term, isn't it? But once you've got your bearing, look, we can now adjust that bearing, and we can adjust using these grips here. So we have these additional grips here for adjusting the overturn and adjusting the side overturn. So you can see it draws these lines here. So that's my side overturn there. So if I wanted to adjust that, I can bring that across towards the edge of my junction, and that allows it to dynamically update the vehicle swept path analysis, which is quite nice. You can also drive backwards as well. So let me drive a vehicle into here and then we'll reverse it. So I'll do an auto track drive. Oh, sorry, escape, do auto drive. Let's make it a bit simpler. Do a private car, and I will drive it into here, proceed, So as I zoom in, okay, if I start going backwards, you'll see it then automatically goes to a reverse arrow. You see the arrows swapped, and I can carry on reversing into my car parking. Oh, I'm parking like my mother. Look at that. That's terrible, isn't it? Like so. So that gives me reverse parking as well. And again, you'll see that in the animation. When the car comes in, it stops and then does a reverse and then parks like my mum as well. So that's quite nice, isn't it? I like that. If you've already got a swept path, you should be able to reverse it as well, not by adjusting the target point, but by doing the arc forward, and just when you take it back, you should be able to find that point at which it will arc backwards. Oh, I've done a bearing drive on that one. Maybe I should do it on the other one. Select it. And there you go. There's the forward, drive forward, and there's the drive backwards. You can't do that on the bearing, it's an arc one. So I can either take the car forwards again, or I can continue to take the car backwards. So again, I can edit that as we proceed across. Okay, what we're going to look at next. Yeah, let's have a look at this animating in a bit more detail as well. So here we are, we have some vehicle paths in here, and we've seen how the animation works, where we can basically play, make it go forward faster or slower, like so, which is nice. We can also loop indefinitely, so it'll just carry on looping constantly. We can record it as well. It will create a little mini AVI movie. I'm not going to do that now because it would sit there rendering frame by frame, so it would take, you know, maybe 20 minutes or so to record that. So I won't do that right now. Okay. We have some settings in there as well. So the main things I use the settings for is the 3D appearance. So we can have it rendering up realistically and using 3D blocks to present our vehicles. So we'll have a look at that as well. And the way you can do that, there's two ways. You've got the animating 3D object here, which you click on it, and it just moves your drawing into a 3D. These are just standard AutoCAD blocks. And now if I play that, you can see our vehicles are now animated in 3D. This is where it's more useful, I think, for doing the recording, isn't it? And you can save the animations. You can create multiple animations. While we're in here, just explaining these coloration on these. So we've got our two vehicles, path 1 and path 2. And the green bit is where it's moving, and the red bit's where it's stopped. The blue bit is where it's accelerating, and the orange bit is where the vehicle's de-accelerating, which is quite useful. Okay, so let me stop that. Hit the play button. Take it back to the beginning. The other thing you can do is you can actually animate picking any of the paths. So here you can pick any of the paths, and you can either take a path or the driver's eye view. So if we take tracking path 1 for this vehicle here, and then we can also set the target of where we're going to target, front, middle or back of our vehicle. We'll just target the vehicle. And then if you hit play, you can see it's going to, oh, I better slow it down online. We're going way too fast. So, we turn that back to the beginning. There we are. So now we can see our path in a bit more detail in terms of how it looks. Let's just stop that and pick a different path. So let's pick path 2, so the other vehicle now, and we can play that one a bit quicker. We can see that vehicle. Well, one that I quite like, is quite useful, is In Civil 3D we can drive down our corridors, and this is quite nice, this. We can do that in here as well. So you can use the driver's eye of the vehicle. So this is what the vehicle driver would see as he's driving down the road. And I'll warn you now, it's quite horrific. If this was real, it would be scary, because the two trucks do cross paths, like now. Ah, there we are. So yeah, the driver's eye view is quite nice. And what it will also do is, when you're reversing, you can switch mirrors on. Let's pull that back. So we're driving forward up to this point, and then we engage reverse, and it shows what would be visible from the mirrors of the vehicle, which is, I think, really good. I'll put loop indefinite on, hasn't I? Let's stop that. Okay, if you just want to see it from a fixed camera, let's stop it, take it back, and turn this one off here, which is the driver's eye view. And basically what we can do is, I'll close it down, go to animate again, and this time not use that one, just use that one. And there's the whole site in 3D. And now if I play it, I can kind of see it from a fixed camera perspective, which is quite nice. And you'll see the point at which the lorries crash. Obviously that's not the point of the exercise, is it? It's not a visualization exercise, it's an actual exercise in swept path analysis. So that's quite nice as well. Okay, so let's not save that viewport and go straight back. Okay, and then let's have a look at the next tool here, which is animating, which we've done parking layouts. Let's do parking layouts. There it is. Okay, so we've got this parking tool here, which is pretty useful, and it's really nice. All you do is, you've got new rows or parallel rows, so I'll do a new row. Pick your parking standards, so I'll pick our design bulletin 32, click proceed, and OK, and it opens up this parking row properties. So we can give this one a name, and I'll just call it office parking, like so. You can select your bay alignment, so you've got straight on straight where they're staggered, straight on straight where they're not staggered, and then you can have them at the 45-degree angles as well if you wish. And then you can change the bay end detail. So again, if you're at an angle, do you want them straight, can you see there, or do you want them like that where they're staggered? Okay, so I'm just going to pick bay. You can do both directions, left only, right only, whichever you want. You can add footpaths, you can add start islands, or islands where there are bends in, so when it goes round a corner it's going to leave a gap, and you have a choice. What do? Do you put a little island in there, or do you just make the bays bigger? So I'll turn them off just to show you basically how to do it. And all we do here is, I'll pick left only, turn my object snaps on, make sure I'm doing it right. And there we are, there's my parking bays. To here, like so. Okay, and you can see we've got driving directions there. That was an option that we set, and we can fit our parking bays in here. Got loads of grips. So these grips here allow you to add more vertices. These grips here allow you to extend the row, so you can carry on a bit further along if you want. It'll just extend the row regardless of where you are, whereas adding vertices will allow you to bend it around corners, etc. These allow you to change the vertexes, so you can change where it's selecting here, or we can add in additional vertexes, so it'll do weird stuff like that in there. The arrow one here will create a curve, so if you've got a curved area, then you can add a curve in there, which is quite nice. These grips will change the angle, so I can adjust the angle, sorry, this one here, of my parking bay, like so. Oh, I'm constrained on this one. I should show you that on the other one, because I've stopped at that point. Yeah, I'll show you that in a minute. That'll be easier. This flow direction, these are just arrows. If I actually go to my layer manager, you have a bay construction layer. And if you turn that off, it gives you what it would look like when you're finished. So you have a choice there. I'm going to leave it on while we're working. These are just designed to show you that this is two-way flow of traffic. If you wanted to make it one way, you can click on it and just draw in the direction you would like the arrow to go in. You can see that it's done both arrows at the same time, which is nice. Let's do another new row, and again we'll use our same bay, left only. This time we'll make it start to end, so the flow of traffic from the start to end. And we will do left only. Yeah, we won't bother with islands. And we'll draw down here. See what happens when you get to a bend. You can see it's put that gap in where there's the bend. And then draw to the end there. And there we are. There's our parking. I would carry on doing all around there, but that would take a while. What we can do is you can edit them. So these ones here, if I wanted these to be disabled bays, you can edit the bays. So up here you've got edit parking row, edit parking bay, and edit parking and island. So if I wanted to edit that bay there, you can click on it and you get these grips. See these squares here? So the blue ones are all the bays that I can edit, and the one that's red is the one that I'm going to edit. So I'll make this first one here, just click, left click, and I'll make it a disabled parking. Okay, and close that down, and it puts in the disabled parking indicator. There's other options on there as well. So if I make it a disabled parking bay in there, click OK, single, yeah. Okay, there we are. And you can add certain things in there as well. The wheel stop, for example. It's not letting me do that. I need to think about that for a minute. Hit OK, close that down. And there's my disabled parking bays. Let's put some down here at an angle and just show you how that works. So, British Parking Standards. I'll use the pull. Okay, and this time we'll do left only, and we'll put them at an angle. I'll tell you what, no, we'll do left only and we'll put them at a 45-degree angle with a starting island and an end island. You can see how they work. And there we are. There they are at an angle. Okay, that allows me to change that starting and end angle. This allows me to change the flow direction. So again, I can just put it in whichever direction I want in there. This side here, let's put. I'll put in a path. You'll see what happens when you put in a path on there. So again, I'll do left only. I want it to go. I'll do it two-way, 45-degree angle. You've got your base styles again, and what we'll do is we'll add a footpath in. We'll set the footpath width 1.8. There we are. Oh, footpath 1.8. And start drawing. You see the gap there where the footpath added in. So if I was to, oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Do that again. Left only, two-way, 45-degree, footpath 1.8. Start drawing down here. You can see now I've got my footpath in, like so. Snap into a tree, like so. And there we are. That puts in my footpath as well, which is pretty good. So, as I say, it's only a brief overview of parking bays. You can get a report out which basically just tells you how many bays you've got, how many disabled bays you've got, So there's my total count, and I can export that. It just exports it to a CSV file. If I just show you that, it's just a standard CSV file, so you can get the data out of there as well. And again, if anybody wants any more information on how to do parking bays, it was a bit of an add-on to this presentation. It wasn't the kind of mainstay of it. But if you want any more information, just let us know and we'll show you them. Okay, so next thing is intersections. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm using Civil 3D, so I wanted to build a corridor. In Civil, we do have tools for doing intersections. Here we are. And the roundabout tools here are just purely for layout. So they'll do all the alignments for you, and they'll create the layouts. You can see the image on the screen now, which is quite nice, and you can add approaches and what have you. The intersection side of it will do crossroads and T-junctions, and that will create a corridor model, so it'll give you all the levels as well. Well, in vehicle tracking, we have our roundabout tool here as well, and that will do all the levels for us. So it'll give us a, if you've got Civil 3D, it will give us a 3D model. So let's have a play with that. So the first thing is we will make sure that we're working in meters, which we are. Vehicles are driving on the left-hand side, which they are. You'd select your surfaces, so you might have more than one surface in there. So the existing ground and the final surface. Then you'll do your corridor, and you can use, it will create the alignments for you automatically. It will automatically create the profile, and it will automatically create the corridor. And any alignments that need adjusting, it will automatically adjust them as well. And then you can add road markings in from Design Line Design Pro or from Vehicle Tracking. So let's click OK. Give it a name. So I'll just call this one Hull Road Junction. It's not Hull Road, by the way. Are you working on a light background or a dark background? I'm working on a dark background, so I want light colours. Tell it which your surfaces are. It also can project the plan onto the surface as well, which is, if I'm doing the corridor model, not worth doing. So I will, no, I'll leave it on so you can see what it does. Hit OK. So now this is attached to my mouse. So I'm going to plonk the roundabout somewhere. I'm going to place it here. Watch it build. So you can see over here in the 3D model, that's it building the alignments on the ground, and that's it building it in 3D, projecting it to the surface. Now it's saying, okay, tell me which are the access roads. So there's access road 1. So I'll just call it leg 1, but you'd give it a name, wouldn't you? Access road 2. Access road 3. And access road 4. And there we are. So now I'm happy, hit enter, and just watch it build. So not only has it done the layouts for us using design standards, it's also building the corridor model. So as we speak now, or as I speak now, it's building all the alignments, it's profiling these alignments, and then it's going to create a corridor model and tying them all in together. So we'll have everything tied in. So we'll give it a minute. So it's just updating all the links now. This is where you wish you could time travel. If you look at any of the videos that I do, you'll see me pausing it and time traveling while it's building stuff. It's quite complex geometry. If you've ever done any of my training courses on junction design, when we do roundabout design, these tools are brilliant and they need to be there, but we have a lot of constraints, particularly in the UK, and we have to design our stuff with you know, constraints around. It's very rare, is it, a nice clean field where we can just put roundabouts in. There's buildings and stuff around us, so we have to be able to go in and edit this corridor model. And so I teach people how to do this manually, which allows them to understand all the features that this is creating. And yeah, get in touch with us if you want to learn how to do that. For those of you that don't generally do roundabout design, this is a great way of just creating a quick visualization of a roundabout in 3 dimensions. I'll have a look at the profile of that one again in 3D. So yeah, we'll do some more 3D stuff in there. Now, when I ran this earlier, it finished in about 2 minutes, so we're over that now. So I don't know what it's doing. So we've just got to wait for a minute, so bear with me. We're there. We're done. So we have a roundabout designed in 3D. Let's have a look at this corridor. Just view it. And there it is. All our levels done. All our roads tied in together, which is very nice. You can edit it as well. It's a dynamic object, so you're not tied directly to that design. So let me just turn off the corridor styles. It's had a hard day, my computer today. I reckon that's what the problem is. So I'll just go in and change that just to plan view, just so that it's just gives us the string information. Have we got Civil 3D users in the room? If you've got Civil 3D, stick your hand up. Let me just clear all the hands. There we are. If you've got Civil 3D, stick your hand up. Oh, we are. Yeah, there's a few of you with Civil 3D. Good. So those of you without Civil 3D, then you can switch it off. Oh, I wish I'd not used that style now. That style's not great, is it? Try the solid hatch. Let's try that one. Regretting using that style now. It's corridored across, isn't it? Again, they're just links that we shouldn't have shown. So we'll have the standard. Okay. So for those of you that put your hand up, look what it's done. So in here, it's created all of these parameters. It's set all the targets. So we have our existing ground targets. If I look at set all targets, there's our width targets are all set for us. Our slope and elevation targets have all been set for us. So yeah, it's done an awful lot. If you think how long that would have taken you to do manually, it would have taken a lot longer, obviously. But if you understand Civil 3D and how you can set your targets and your alignments, then you can go in here and you can adjust any of these tools, which is rather nice. Let me cancel that. Let's just edit that junction. So we can pick the vehicle tracking junction, and here we are. We can now start editing our junction. So for example, just putting crosswalks on, so you can see there we can add in a crosswalk where people can cross. That was a stupid statement, wasn't it? A crosswalk where people can cross. And that's going to put a block in that allows us to show where the crossing is. And all these elements that have been put in as well, like the signs, for example, they're all three-dimensional objects as well. They're not just, so there's that thing. So this sign, for example, let me just escape and show you that. We appear to have come to an impasse. We might have to move on. Typically, anyway, when you do these live demos, I ran this morning and it ran as quick as anything. Now it's updating the links. Right, let's escape that. Come on. I think we might have to move on. Right. Yeah, sorry guys, it's died on me. Right, here we go. Yeah, these signs here, so you've got some indication what the signs are, but again, for you guys using 3D, they aren't just signs, they are multi-view blocks, proper multi-view blocks. And you can see, again, I'm using UK standards here, but in your own countries, you'll have your own standards in there as well. This one here is our standards report manager, so we can see the British parking standards are in there, and then for our roundabouts, you've got our junction standards, and there they are. So we were using these ones here where it checks visibility sightings, what signs we're going to use, and what road markings we're going to use as well. So you have all of your standards that you can use in there. I'm very dubious about using this drawing in a bit more detail, but I'll just show you. So you can now add new access roads to it and delete them, add new splitter islands and delete them, which I was going to show you. Rumble strips as well, so we can add and delete rumble strips, and then we can do site visibility lines as well, and you can have a look at them as well. Because this drawing's pretty much died on me, I might do another video of this later on and post that up, so keep your eye on that. Okay, so for the next 5-10 minutes, I'll just have a look at this animating, because you can, for you Civil 3D users, again, you can animate them in 3 dimensions as well. So when I get my drawing back, we'll let you know. Do the vertical clearance, because this drawing here, I have a corridor model on this. So if I was doing a swept path, let's do it with that lorry. Okay, and we're going to drive the lorry down around this corner here. Okay, we'll drive it around the corner like so. Hit enter. Okay, so the animate tool, let's check where so animate tool, there we are, there's our lorry driving down there. And what we can also do is have a look at it in 3D. And there it is. So that's our lorry driving along our road in 3D. Obviously, you'd want some sort of barrier on there, wouldn't you? I'm not actually going to build this road, but yeah, I would put a large bench on there and barrier it. Actually, you'd lower the profile, wouldn't you, in the real world? I exaggerated it so you can see how it animates on the surface. So all you needed to do that was create a final surface of your road. So create a surface of your road, and make sure the lorry is on that surface. And again, in the settings, it's not in them settings, we can, let me just close that down. No, can't save the viewport. In the settings, come on, they're in, oh, wrong one again. In the settings, surfaces. So there we are. That's where you tell it where the lorry is going to be driving on. So we have an existing ground and we have a final ground, which includes the top surface of my road. You don't need to see it. It doesn't need to be actually visible. And you'll see from my surfaces in here that I've got my road surface, my final ground, and my existing ground surface. And they're not visible. I'm only showing the existing ground surface. So even though it's not visible, you can still use that surface as part of your design. And that is about it. I apologise for the drawing dying on me. It's going to be too slow, I think, to carry on with that. So again, if you need more information on the roundabout tool or the modelling in 3D, let me know and I'll create a separate video for you. And I hope you found that useful. Stick any questions in the question box now, or copy my email address and send them to me on email. And what I'll do is I'd like to just thank you all for attending. I'll leave my details up there for the next 5 minutes or so, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you.